Good morning, everyone. This is Beth Ricklefs with IAMS Insurance Agency Marketing Services. I am one of your life insurance sales directors here at IAMS. We also have Paul Williams, John Lemaster, and Stephen Jenkins on our team. We have the incredible Joe Mulligan from MassMutual on the line with us today. We're going to be talking about gifts to kids and grandkids in the form of life insurance. It makes a big impact on juveniles. I know in the business, something that we don't want to think about is that we do deliver kid policies. Unfortunately, there are some children that die, and that's not always the reason why we're purchasing juvenile cases, but a lot of times it's to protect their insurability and then also be a nice growth vehicle for them down the road. So we're going to go through all of that. First of all, I always do a little IAMS intro, and some of the producers I can see on the line are brand new to us, and some of us have been with us for a while. So anyone that is new to signing up with IAMS, we do offer a new producer builder to get you started in the business with us. We want to encourage you to send the business with us once you get contracted, and to give you incentives to do that. We've come up with these different new producer builders. So as in the first 6 months of business with IAMS, if you are producing at the 100,000 level with annuities, then you could choose between an iPad, $750 of cash, a 1,500 piece postcard mailing. That equates to 10,000 of target with life insurance, or you can go all the way up to the $1 million level, and you can see that the incentives are obviously worth a lot more. You can check in at any time on that. So if you get to the 250 level and you're good with that, you can cash out then, or if you want to keep it going and see how you end up at the end of 6 months, you can pick your incentive there. IAMS is here to be a business partner with you and to build your business. If you write more business, we make more money. One way of doing that is referral bonus program. Any agent that you refer to us, not a downline, but someone's an actual referral, it's going to give you a $50 one-time bonus when you refer an agent that gets contracted. And then we also give you a portion of commissions to you with every, with the money that, or the premium dollars that they're writing. So that's going to be 0.15% of commissions going to you on life. SBL would be 0.075, MIGA 0.10, and index annuities 0.20. Now, that's not a haircut off their business. They're going to still get top street level commissions. That is out of our pocket. And I'm getting ready to talk about the marketing reimbursement. I have quite a few agents that refer business to me, and they use that referral producer money as kind of their starting bucket for marketing dollars, although you can use it for whatever you want. We do offer marketing reimbursement for all of our agents. We know that you need to invest in your business, and we want to be your business partner on that as well. So we pay up to $100 of marketing reimbursement for every 100,000 of index annuity premium. For single premium life, that's going to be $200 for every 100,000. And then for target premium of 10,000, that's going to be another $200. We have all of your back office support. The next slide and this slide are kind of connected, but we have all the business building tools and resources on our website. We offer case design assistance, whether it is on the annuity side, or our life insurance directors would be responsible for life, long-term care, and disability. You'll be able to find all the forms at your fingertips on our website. We are going to be your partner from even before submission. So we've got the case design element, then we've got you submitting business. In the middle, we have our case management on the annuity side and the life insurance that's going to get that business from submission to paid. And then on the back end, we're going to help you with commission support. Also, maybe you're wanting an annual statement, anything like that, maybe change forms, beneficiary change forms, etc. Life and annuity quotes, some of that you have access on our website, but all of the life and annuity directors can help you with case design there. Top sales expertise and coaching from all of the directors, and then we use Insurance Bay paperless contracting, which makes life a lot easier when it comes to contracting and managing that for you. Like I said, the IAMS website has a ton of information on it, excellent sales tools. If you haven't signed up for our website before, you can. It's www.imsinc.com. Go ahead and register. A couple things on there is like the support button is going to have a sales resource library that's going to have a lot of topics in there, questionnaires, presentations, calculators. There's a wealth of information in there. There's product information. You can quote term and GUL as well as final expense. It's always accessible 24/7. There's ways for you to download forms, industry links, current annuity news, annuity grid, and LTC products on there. We also have we have a life quote request. So if you don't want to call into us, you can type it in our website, and that will go to the life insurance directors for us to get a quote out to you. We also have that on the disability side. That's the easiest way to get the right information on a disability quote. So keep that in mind. We do quite a bit of e-application platform things. Firelight is one of them. Most of my annuity producers are familiar with that. There are not very many life insurance carriers on Firelight. There's a lot more on iPipeline. Firelight, you actually have to register. iPipeline, you're registered when you register for our website. And that's going to have most of our carriers to do e-app. Some of them we have to do it from their websites. And then Sunfire refers to our Medicare business. So here, like I said, you're going to see most of the Firelight is going to be towards annuity business, but we've got a handful down here that would be life insurance. One of the best things about IAMS is we have a creative marketing service. The wonderful thing about them is two things, is they are familiar with the insurance industry. So when you call them for marketing solutions, we're not reinventing the wheel every single time like you would if you were to hire somebody outside of insurance to handle your marketing. We know things to be compliant with, things that you might or might not want to say. We editors here on staff to see copy, things like that. And also, when it comes to marketing solutions, we know that every agent that we work with has a different market that they're working with. So what I suggest for marketing for somebody in Kansas, where I am, versus somebody in South Carolina, the demographic is going to be very different. You and I might be very different agents about what is important to us. And we work with our creative marketing solutions team to design plans that are tailored to how you do business or where you want to see your business grow and go to. A lot of other IMOs that I have worked with, they come up with a cookie cutter solution that might meet most of the agents, but then there's always that outlining group of people that it doesn't work for at all, and we really want to make it custom to you and what works for you as well. So that's a great team for us to work with. IAMS Wealth Management is just going to help you round out your business. So if you are wanting to get into managed money, or maybe you already are, this is a great solution to have everything in one place. If you are wanting to get into managed money, we can help you with your 65. So we take and we have plans that help people get into that market. Duncan would be the one that you want to talk to at IAMS Wealth Management, and he can go over those starter plans to get you into that. And then, of course, we're very well designed for anyone that's already familiar with that market. But we do find that it does, again, round out your business. It offers a full range of products and services. It does help with your fixed business as well. So if you want to get a hold of Duncan, I can always reach out to him and let him know that you want to have a call with him. Through the year, we do life and annuity academies, usually a 2-day training. We have one that's going to happen this week, actually, in Des Moines, I believe. We will have a few, probably 2 or 3 more after this. So that is a great time. I know that a lot of times with an independent agent, you're kind of working on an island and you don't always get to talk with other agents to get ideas. This is a great way to rub elbows with other producing agents across the nation to get ideas that way. We usually partner with a carrier to provide some insight, usually advanced topics in there. Just a really good 2-day seminar to kind of boost up your business. If you're interested in that, just reach out to any of the directors and we can help you out with that. Please follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. And if you have questions, you can call us at the 800-255-5055 and talk with one of the sales directors. I do have a question up there on this on our webinar here too, if there's something that you want to ask. Also, when Joe is doing his presentation, if you want to type in the questions, I'll try to field them out to him as well. And with that, I'm going to switch it over to Mr. Joe Mulligan, and we will start our presentation.
Perfect. Beth, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Do you want to look at the question? Does it retain to what you were just talking about? Do you maybe want to handle that question first?
Oh, there's no questions so far.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, listen, Beth and IAMS, number one, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to show MassMutual. We're going to talk about one of the most exciting platforms that we have for us to get you in the doors of clients to sell juvenile insurance. I've been in the company at MassMutual for 7 years, folks. I'm on LinkedIn. If you could see my picture, Cup of Joe is my brand out there. But I've been in the industry for 39 years, 17 at MassMutual, and I can tell you that this gift of a lifetime presentation is probably one of the easiest, I said easy, and best prospecting ideas for you to get in front of parents, grandparents. The presentation is all about writing a life insurance policy with MassMutual on a juvenile, anybody 0 to 18 years old. Juvenile starts 15 days after birth. And our presentation often refers to parents and grandparents, but I'm going to tell you what I believe. This presentation, if you just concentrate on the grandparents, this is who the presentation is really for. How many of you out there in the audience today have kids like I do? And every time the kid gets money, whether, I don't mean a 1-year-old, but as they enter their teens and well beyond teens, they spend their money on video games. I just had a garage sale where I sold about 100 video games for $1 a piece, where my son probably paid $50 to $60 for it. So oftentimes gifting, as our children, as the grandchildren receive money on the holidays and on the birthdays, we're going to earmark that money. And let me first talk to you. I want to show you a 1 minute video clip. This is a video that we're going to send to you that, in my opinion, this is your foot in the door with your client. Who are we defining as your client here? Your client is, you want to be talking to anybody who has a grandchild. And the question for them is going to be, hey, if you're like many of my clients, it's a statement, but if you're like many of my clients that at holidays and birthdays, you give your grandchildren money, why not take a piece of that gift? Why not take a piece of that monetary gift and set them up with a whole life policy that's going to grow for them in value? Beth said it in the beginning of her talk, very morbid to talk about children passing away. But I take the silver lining here, and I would say this whole life presentation is all about building. You know, it's about, number one, yes, it's about insurability. Number two, there's riders that we add on to the juvenile policies to protect their insurability. And the importance of that is, if a baby's born today, we don't know, we don't know what health conditions may come about, such as juvenile diabetes. I work with somebody here whose son was 15 when he was diagnosed with juvenile diabetes. But the riders we put on, there's two riders. One's guaranteed insurability, and that's going to protect that child, that if they buy the policy and they have a change in health, they can increase their face amount all the way up to $1 million in total over 8 option periods. We could talk more about that or get questions on that, but that means, hey, we buy a policy today. If it's a $50,000 face amount policy, we could put a rider on there that allows that child at various times in life, and those times start at age 25, and every 3 years till 42, I think it is, they can increase that face amount of that policy without evidence of insurability. So to Beth's point, if we protect the insurability of the kids with a policy, number one, with the riders, number two. Second rider, and we'll refer to it again in a minute, is waiver of premium. The waiver of premium with MassMutual is only on the insured. It's not on the owner or the payer. So if the child gets sick or ill and can't perform the duties of being a child, that waiver premium will kick in. Could be for lifetime, could be at age 100 if that's what the product is. I'm going to quickly flash the products for you now and show you what products through IAMS at MassMutual do you have the availability to sell, because as we get into the program, as we get into the gift of a lifetime, it doesn't matter to us. You can sell any of these products to satisfy the sale. Bear with me. Here's the product portfolio. Beth, you can still see my screen, correct?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. So on the whole life spectrum, we have whole life. We actually just added one that didn't get it. We have 8 pay whole life, guaranteed paid up in 8 years. 8 pay, 10 pay, 12 pay, 15 pay, 20 pay, paid up at 65, which is my favorite product for a child's policy, and paid up at age 100. That would be the traditional whole life. We have UL, guaranteed ULs. We have term, ART, all the way up to 30-year term. But this program, Gift of a Lifetime, typically is all meant around the whole life marketplace. I'm going to stop showing you this. I'm going to show you a video. This video now, this is what you send to your client, and you say, your grandparent prospect, and you say, hey, if you're like many of my clients that are grandparents, and at the holidays and birthday times, you give your grandchild money as a gift, why not maybe take half of that money and put half the money into a program that will accumulate money for them, will insure them, and will protect their insurability. The grandparents love this idea because grandparents hate to see kids buying video games with all the money they give them. And I'm talking little premiums here, but we can, depending on the stature of the parents and the need for insurance, we could be talking about a $25,000 whole life policy, which is what MassMutual's minimum is, $25,000. Or we could be talking about a multimillionaire situation where the parents want to get the kids started in life and give them $1 million policy. So I'm going to show you the video. Now, this is the exciting part. The video is 1 minute 47 seconds. It's what the grandparents, imagine your grandparent viewing this after you've sent it to them. And your point, your comment to them would be, take a look at this video. Let's have a conversation. Let me know when you've seen it. I want to talk to you about that. So here it comes.
When you think about gifts for children, you probably think of clothes and toys, or maybe even phones, tablets, and video games. You probably don't think of life insurance, but maybe you should. Whole life insurance from MassMutual can give your children or grandchildren a financial head start by providing a guaranteed amount of life insurance to help them protect their future. In addition, it builds cash value over time. When they're older, your children could use the cash value in their policies to help fund important milestones such as college, a wedding, their first home, or preparing for a baby. However, it's important to understand that any distributions will reduce the policy's cash value and death benefit. So your children should be selective about how and when they use their policies. Purchasing life insurance on a child may make good sense. Premiums are lower for children because they're young and healthy. As your children grow older, they may not be able to afford or even qualify for life insurance. Purchasing whole life insurance for a child now will help ensure that he or she has guaranteed protection for life. There's also an option that allows them to purchase more coverage at certain life events, like a marriage, the birth of a child, or at regular intervals as needed, regardless of their future health. With permanent protection, cash value, and options to increase coverage, whole life insurance from MassMutual can truly be a gift of a lifetime. There are specific underwriting and ownership guidelines for insuring minors, which vary by state. Ask a financial professional for more information.
Okay, that's that one. Bear with me, just minimize this. Now I'm going to go into the presentation. Before I do, it talked about the ownership and state regulations. Folks, if you're listening to me and you have a pen and paper handy, I want you to write down the Goodman Triangle, Goodman Triangle. I'll send you a blurb of it with our email, but the Goodman Triangle says, especially when you're dealing with grandparents here, if there are three parties to a life insurance contract, three parties meaning the insured, the beneficiaries, which in this case typically would be mom and dad, and if we want to have the owner, we actually want to designate the parents as the owner, even though grandpa, grandma are paying the premiums. If we don't, if we let a third party such as grandpa be the owner of the policy, then the government is going to look at that death benefit. If God forbid the child dies first and the parents as beneficiaries receive that money, the government may look at that distribution as a taxable gift. So that's the Goodman Triangle. It's not a MassMutual term. It's a court case that deemed you only really want to have two parties. So grandma, grandpa could be the payers of this. We can go into specifics in the Q&A at the end of this, but typically we're looking at the baby, the juveniles being the insured, mom or dad being the beneficiaries. And by the way, mom or dad have to have at least the same amount of insurance, one of them, as the juvenile. The juvenile can get 1.25 more than mom or dad. All right, I'm going to open up the PowerPoint presentation, which is going to be sent to you right now. I'm sorry, it's not going to be sent to you, but this presentation we're looking at will be sent to you to guide you through. This is a producer presentation. Gift of a lifetime. Here's the, if you need to seek legal advice, it's not from Joe Mulligan, it's from your own side of the fence there. Here, gift of a lifetime. If you're interested in helping clients give their children or grandchildren a financial head start, increasing your annual first-year commission and life count. That's, by the way, why you don't send this to a client. Don't send them the PowerPoint presentation. It looks like you're trying to drive commission and life count as opposed to doing the best interest. Selling more participating whole life to existing clients. We'll talk about that in a second. The agenda here, why whole life on a child, some sales ideas, case study, and we'll close on underwriting and ownership. So right now, children are usually healthier. Obviously, we all know with insurance, the younger you are, the cheaper it is. Generally lower premiums. Again, the third here shows, it doesn't show the new product we just came out with, which is an 8-pay. But imagine your kids having their policies paid up. This is where I chime in and I say, I like a 65 product. I love the ability to accumulate money in whole life. And if I can do it with my child or my grandchild to age 65, that's better for them. The whole life policies get bigger and bigger and better with a mutual company, which we'll refer to in a second, because of the dividend. So I would actually show a grandparent a life at 65 product. And I'm going to stop right there for a second, because the marketing here, the conversation with grandma or grandpa is going to be, why don't you start a whole life policy? You pay it, and eventually you're going to pass away prior to the kids having the policy. So that's the benefit of an 8-pay, 10-pay, 12-pay. If grandma, grandpa, they can actually fund it, have it paid up by the time they pass away. But I like the ability with a life paid up at 65 contract to keep putting money in, so either mom or dad can pick up the payments at that point. They don't have to. The neat thing about whole life insurance is that no matter what product you buy, 100 paid up at 100, 20 pay, 10 pay, you can actually reduce pay up that policy when grandma, grandpa dies. If the kid, if their children, the mom and dad of the kids, if they don't have the financial means to pay for the premium, okay, so we turn a paid up at 65 product into an 8-pay or a 12-pay or a 15-pay by reduced paying up the face amount, guaranteed paid up, no more premiums due. But in the event that grandpa lives a long life, or grandma and or mom continues the funding, it's a phenomenal vehicle, whole life, to be able to accumulate money in. Why whole life on a child? Whole life grows with the child. MassMutual is a mutual company. We've always been for 160 something years now. We pay dividends. We're very competitive on the dividend scale. And that dividend is a big part of this presentation, because the dividend is really, in addition to the increase in cash value, but the dividend combined with that is really what makes this presentation really purr like a kitten, and makes the contract grow. I'm going to show you MassMutual's dividend rate, if I can pull it up right here. Right here. This is us compared to the typical, what we call the peer mutuals. MassMutual's dividend interest rate has typically been the leading dividend interest rate in the history with our peer mutuals. And I have another sheet that I'll be sending you that goes all the way. It doesn't just go to 2005. It goes back to 1978. We don't have the competitors' information to 1978, but we have MassMutual's. And where you will see our current dividend interest rate right now in 2024 is 6.1. It has never been below 6.0. You see these last 3 years going back to 2021. Going back to 1978, our dividend interest rate has not been lower than 6% in a 40-something year period of time. So my point in that, my presentation purpose with a client to bring that out would be, when we're looking at a policy today at whole life at 6.1, and we're looking at the future, I believe we're looking at reality, folks. I don't believe we're being aggressive, and we can manipulate that dividend interest rate down, not up. But we're looking at 6.1 for the next 30, 40, 50 years with these policies. So that is not a highly likely, scenario. Past performance is not indicative of future, but if I show you the dividend interest rates going back to 1978, that gives a lot of clients the ability to be comfortable with the purchase of that product. And talking about dividends, going back now into the presentation, the riders, the rider of guaranteed insurability. What this does is, this rider, it's optional, doesn't have to be on there, but what this does is, at periodic or life events, the client can, the juvenile can increase their face amount, and then, or at age 25, and every 3 years after that, they can come in. If they don't exercise it, they don't lose the option, but from 25 to 42, every 3 years, there should be 8 options in there. Maximum rider availability face amount is $125,000. That times 8 is $1 million. So if I bought my child a $150,000 face amount policy, now when they become 25, every 3 years they can come back into the company, regardless of their health history. There's no health underwriting, no financial underwriting. So as long as they want to increase the policy, they can, or they can buy another policy at that face amount. Our dividends, the dividends we saw here, our dividend has a lot of different options. We could send it to the client in cash. We could buy paid up additions, which increases the insurance face amount for the client. And that's important, because a juvenile policy may not be the biggest policy face amount out there, but if I keep that policy and my dividends are buying paid up additions, I might start with a $25,000 policy. And if I don't take anything out of that policy, by the time I'm 60 or 70 years old, my death benefit might be $200,000 or $300,000 because of what the dividend PUAs do, paid up additions. Why whole life insurance on a child? It's a gift that lasts. It's not going to collapse because of interest rates or market volatility. It's guaranteed with the cash value. The dividends are not guaranteed, but it could protect future grandchildren or great grandchildren here. So the grandparents are creating a legacy. What we mean there by the death benefit. Early step towards financial security. I think we all on the phone know we can use the cash value in a life insurance policy to help us fund many things down the road, whether the roof leaks, that we need a new car, we want to fund a wedding, college education. There's all kind of abilities to take money out of there. Sales ideas. All right. This is, folks, take a minute, stand up, take a breather. This is what's going to sell this program for you. And I don't agree with this, but this has a lot of, this resonates with grandma and grandpa. So I'm going to lay this scenario out with you and say, grandpa buys a policy on his little, 4-year-old granddaughter. And every single year that policy's anniversary comes up, when MassMutual pays a dividend, and depending on the product, it's either right from year 1 or starting in year 2. But imagine, here comes the sale. You date the policy for the child's birth date. Now you have to coordinate that with your book of business, and we could talk about that. But imagine dating that policy. I'm going to apply for a policy on my granddaughter here, Tina, and her birthday is June 1st. So we date the policy June 1st. I, as grandpa, I fund that policy every single year. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I pass away. I'm no longer around, and grandma passes away. Well, because MassMutual is a mutual company that consistently pays dividends, not guaranteed. Tina, on her birthday, she's going to get a birthday gift in the form of a dividend check every single year that MassMutual pays it, and we've never not paid a dividend since we started. But imagine, grandpa's legacy or grandma's legacy is going to live on forever. Every single day of their birthday, every single year, they're going to get a check. This is where I said I don't necessarily believe in doing that, because I would want the dividend as a parent. I would want the dividend sitting in a policy and accumulating. But imagine grandma's ability to buy this policy and have a dividend check coming into a sweet grandchild every single year. Dividends paid become a birthday gift. That's what I was just talking about. The dividends can continue after grandparent is gone. The dividend should also be used to fund educational. It could also be used. As a parent, I say should, but can be used to fund educational savings plans. And then remind your clients that dividends are not guaranteed. But with MassMutual, we're not a flimsy little overnight company. We have never not paid a dividend since we started 155 years ago. Sure, they go up and down, but again, as I mentioned a minute ago, about 6%. I think that's a relatively conservative view of the future. Cash value access. As adults, they can use it throughout their lives. I think we all know that, but college graduation, wedding, home purchase at age 32 or whenever the kids buy it. Suggest surrendering paid up additions instead of loans. That's individually. I like a loan if I'm taking money out because I want to put that money back in the policy. But the marketing materials, marketing people at the home office have their own decisions here. But distribution should be made selectively. Here's the neat thing right here. Grandma or grandpa writes a letter and says, "Dear Tina, you're probably reading this letter and I have passed on. I'm long gone, but I just want you to know why I bought this policy, why I started this policy for you. You're dear sweet. I want to give you a head start in life. I hope you see the value in it, and I hope it enables you to do things, that whatever you want to do, whether it's providing education funds for your own kids or what, so a letter, this is not part of the application, but this is a neat little sentiment that really, really works. Folks, the gift of a lifetime accounts for 13% of MassMutual's whole life sales across the whole country. So these policies on juveniles account for 13% of MassMutual's sales during the year. We talked about the guaranteed insurability rider, dividends providing paid up insurance, case studies. I'm not going to go through these case studies here, but I want to get to something else here for a second. You'll have a copy of this in your email. Underwriting and ownership right here. So here's just some guidelines and some rules. The Goodman Triangle, again, that's keeping three parties away from the transaction. So again, grandma, grandpa becomes the payer. And I know they're going to want to be the owner. Of course they are, because they're going to want to control the policy if they're paying it. But when you explain to them and show them what the Goodman Triangle is, they can't be. Grandpa, grandma shouldn't, in order for them to own and be a beneficiary, that's where a lot of workarounds start coming in. The underwriters say, well, what financial loss is there to grandma or grandpa at the time of the child's death? And it's really not a loss to grandma, grandpa. So they don't like that scenario. Ownership can always be changed. That's read between the lines. But child must be at least 15 years old to insure the child. At 16, the child starts signing some of our forms. A parent must sign if the owner or if they're the owner or premium payment. Max face amount here of the juvenile, but this is very important. I want to talk about this and help you with your practice maybe, but MassMutual, I'm not going to say we're a stodgy company, but the reason we used to be known as the blue chip company, we're a mutual company paying dividends. We don't give the house away, and we do underwrite our policies. There's no medicals for the kids, by the way, just a part two to answer a health question. But mom and dad have to have a life insurance policy, at least in the face amount of the child. If mom or dad has no life insurance, a cover letter should explain that. Maybe they're uninsurable. But if mom or dad does not have any life insurance, that's not a scenario that we're looking to approve the policy. And if you think about it, here comes the marketing. Here comes, I hope, is a good idea for you. Mom or dad, you're talking to mom or dad. So let's assume mom or dad is your client. All right, mom or dad, your client, and you talk about the child or the children and say, hey, what about the kids? Do you ever take any insurance out on them? When they say, oh, no, we never thought about it. And then here's your next question. Are your parents and or your in-laws, are they living? Number one. The second question, do they typically at birthday, holiday times, do your parents or in-laws give your kids gifts? Why not thinking about this gift of a lifetime program? Explain this program to the parents. The parents are going to love this idea because it takes the burden of paying premiums on the kids off their shoulders and moves it over to the grandchild. And I think more importantly, okay, from an underwriting standpoint, if this money paying premiums for kids is better off spent on insuring the mom and dad. Yeah, and I'm not saying the grandparent pays for that, but what I'm saying is if mom and dad have no life insurance on themselves, they shouldn't, in my opinion, they shouldn't be looking to insure their kids first, even though it's a head start in life and all that. But they should be looking to insure themselves, bread and butter winners of the family. I'm going to stop there for a second, Beth. Are there any questions in the chat room?
Yes. Are there any health questions for the child or family history?
So absolutely, we don't automatically grant. These are not guaranteed issue policies. The policy is fully underwritten. The child goes through health questions, a part 2 non-med. Family history depends on if it's a condition that is sent down through the inheritance and is a comorbid condition, we're going to look at that hard at that. But it doesn't mean if mom or dad died of a heart attack that we're not going to issue a policy, for example. So yes, absolutely fully underwritten. Juvenile policies with access to digital medical we expect, if we're talking about an infant here, a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, we expect that there be medical records out there. And if there are no medical records out there that we can look for, I'm not saying we're going to APS. In today's underwriting world, a lot of the clients have access to digital medical records, but if there's no health history on the child, that's not good, because all kids need to be going and getting weighed and measured and see where they fit. So that could be a challenge in underwriting if there's no medical records. But yes, there are, to answer the question directly, there are medical questions. Hey, what's your height and weight? Do you have a primary doctor? When's the last time you saw? For what? So fully underwritten. What was the other question, Beth?
That was the only question, but I would also point out that the percentage that you have on the child, that's really a lot better than most companies in the industry. Usually, the parent needs to have twice as much of coverage as
Yep.
the kid. So,
Yep. So we're saying, you know, we're saying the maximum allowed to buy on the juvenile is 1.25 the amount of the child, but if mom or dad, not both, if mom or dad has 25,000 on themselves, we can get a $25,000 policy issued on the kids. Here's the other thing that sometimes makes producers go, oh boy, but we require that all siblings have the same amount of insurance on each other. It doesn't have to be with us, but if grandpa is insuring, here comes the groans too, but if you can get by this, you're good. But if grandpa's buying a policy on his favorite grandchild, and that's Tina, but Tina has a brother and there's no insurance on the brother, we're going to question that, and we're going to ask for, you know, a cover letter to explain that. And if there's no viable reason, you know, worst case is we split the gift in two and buy a policy on both of them. But all siblings have to have the same amount of coverage. Okay, if you're listening from New York is crazy. They have their own specific rules, but New York for juveniles only allows, I think, up to $50,000 depending on the parents. I can send you New York. If anybody's in New York, let us know when you get an email from Beth and I, and I'll give you the New York juvenile guidelines as well. Here's another question that I just thought of that you probably are thinking of. Where you, as a producer, you need to be licensed. Okay, our applications, as Beth mentioned a while ago, are e-apps. You're going to get directly contracted with MassMutual, and you're going to input your applications through our portal, not through iPipeline. It is the same as iPipeline, but you have to do it through the proprietary website at MassMutual. But the contracting of you as a producer means if the grandchild lives in Texas, let's say, and grandpa lives in Ohio, you as the producer need to be licensed in both Texas and Ohio. Why? Because the insured, or mom and dad are signing for the insured in Texas, and grandpa, if grandpa's going to be the owner, if grandpa's just a payer, he's not signing the application. It's all where the owner signs and where the insured or guardian signs. So you may not need to be dual contracted. And that's where I'll leave it there. The biggest, easiest issue here to get around all of these Goodman tax triangle things is if an irrevocable life insurance trust, it would be to own the policy. That's a great way around it. And again, I'm going to be sending a flyer about the ownership provisions with the presentation. Let me see if I missed anything here. That's it for the PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to close out because I will be giving you folks, I'll be giving you tons of stuff to read, not 3 or 4 or 5 things, but here's what I would suggest you do. I'm literally getting from my producers about 300 policies a year through my agency here to do this. Here's what works. Here's what you need to do from this. You need to go to your database of clients, and if you don't have grandparents, you go to your parents and your in-laws and you ask them about, hey, do you have parents and in-laws? I want to talk to you about something. If you do have grandparents that you're applying, many of you on the phone may be selling supplement to Medicare's and Medicare Advantage plans. This is not a big sale for the most part for you or I. It may be only a $200 a year premium, but it gives you access to the grandparent, gives you a great relationship building opportunity with the grandparent. And it allows you to talk to the grandparent about their stuff, right? Which is investments, I hope, and long-term care planning. And do they have any life insurance? But they love it. I'm telling you, I'm not making this up, but the grandparents love this presentation because they see their gift, their money going to a great value. They see their money being put to great value. Beth, with that, I'm going to close out. I'm going to ask you, I'll stop sharing and I'll ask you for any Q&A that's in the chat.
Yeah, another one popped up that says distributions include the BD checks, I assume taxed, correct? I'm not exactly sure.
I think what that's saying is, okay, that's a great question, by the way, if I interpret it right. And that question is saying, okay, if MassMutual sends a dividend check, okay, number one, they're going to send it to the owner. So be, that be prepared to answer that. But are they taxable? The answer is yes or no. A dividend check is not taxable if it's paid and it's under the basis of the contract. Dividends are taxable, okay, when you've achieved basis. So, and in these cases with smaller policies, they're not going to, typically they're not going to be taxable for years and years down the road. But a dividend in itself is a return of unused premium. A dividend is not taxable with any company until you've exhausted until you've received in dividend distributions the same amount that when you reach that basis, meaning what you paid in premium, $1 of dividend paid to you beyond that is taxable. But what a great, in that case, we leave the dividend in the policy. It's not taxable because it's staying inside the policy. I think BD meant birthday as opposed to broker dealer.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't.
Yep.
I would like to point out too on the parents that are underinsured that they have a lesser amount than they want to put on the kids. I come across that a lot. That someone is trying to do a juvenile policy, and then we end up finding out that the parents are not insured to a level that they need to be, and that a lot of times creates another sale because the parent hadn't thought about that they were underinsured.
Yep. So here's what I suggest is your marketing plan. Here's how this works best. You identify in your database of clients, you identify the grandparents. You take the video that I'm going to send you and you send that video in an email, okay, it's attached, and that video is coming out of YouTube, by the way. You send that video, which is 1:45, you send that to your grandparent client in an email, and you say in the email, again, if you're like many of my clients that at the holidays and birthday times, you give your grandchildren monetary gifts, why not consider taking some of that gift and putting it towards a permanent plan that's going to accumulate and protect your grandchild for the future, leaves a legacy they'll always be remembered by. And you don't want to give it all away in an email. You don't want to you want the ability to say to your grandparent prospect, take a look at the video. Let's have a conversation after the video. And by the way, Beth, if I could just put a commercial out, I've been in the business for 39 years. And whether it's life insurance or disability insurance, using a video in 2024 to open up the door to a conversation is a phenomenal way to start the conversation. Mass has a few videos out there. We got some commercials. This one is a gift of a lifetime, but everybody has their own way of making an appointment with somebody, but having the client take a look at the video, it's professionally done. There's a disability video we sell disability insurance as well. And it puts the people, they're seeing a third party kind of, idea and say, hey, do you have 5 minutes? Can we talk about this after you have a chance to take a look at it? So it does resonate with the grandparents. Again, I love the idea that a birthday dividend check goes to the kid every year, again, to the owner. So mom and dad as the owner would be getting the check there, but they turn around and give it to the kids. But, there's UTMA and UGMAs that can control the ownership going to the kids when they become a majority in the state's ages as well. So I think with that, Beth, I've exhausted what I have to say about gift of a lifetime. I appreciate IAMS giving me the opportunity to do this. And I'm telling you, folks, you want to get in front of people? This is a great, simple idea. Really resonates, really works. Go through the grandparents. If the grandparents you don't have access to, go through the parents to get to the grandparents. The parents, it's taking an idea, that burden of premium off of the parent's shoulder. And I think they'd be happy to let their parents, the grandparents, fund a life insurance policy for their own kids.
We're coming close to the end of time on the webinar anyway, so I'm going to launch some polling questions. The first one is if you would like to get contracted with MassMutual. And I had that one up before, so I'm going to close that one down and go to the next one.
Hey, Beth, can I just add in there on the contracting a quick 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay. Many of you out on the call may have a MassMutual contract out there, but it's not through IAMS. That business does not flow through IAMS. So you could have multiple MassMutual contracts. So if you are contracted with MassMutual, but not through IAMS, then come to IAMS to get your contracting through the IAMS portal. All right, poll question number 2, Beth.
All right. It's would you like more information on life and annuity academies? I think we're getting ready to, I think we've gotten most of our responses on that. And I'll do the third one. And do you have any clients in mind that could benefit from whole life insurance products? Okay. Well, Joe, thank you so much for spending Monday morning with us. That was a great presentation. I'm a big fan of whole life for juveniles. I've delivered death checks, but I have a lot of friends that have uninsurable kids, namely by what you mentioned, juvenile diabetes. They're not necessarily uninsurable, but their cost of it, or their rating is super high if they can get it. So the guaranteed insurability rider is a huge deal. And, a lot of kids don't think in their early 20s that they need life insurance. So when they get it together, at least it gives them an option to purchase more life insurance. So any other questions? All right. Well, everybody have a great Monday. Please reach out to your life insurance sales directors if you have any questions. Wait. Oh, one more thing. It said you had a slide. You can protect future. A slide you said you can protect future grandchildren and great grandchildren. How does that work?
No, that might have been misread. We can't. I know what they're referring. They're referring to the fact of you're buying a policy on a juvenile, and because that policy grows with death benefit down the road, that death benefit is going to be transferred as a to a beneficiary, being a beneficiary relationship. And we're not writing another policy on a future grandchild without any insurability. But that's what that reference to is. Hey, you're buying a policy today, or you're paying a policy on your grandchild, which for generations and generations, that will allow them to leave a death benefit and legacy to their grandkids when they get older as well.
Got it.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your week, and thank you for joining us this morning. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you, Beth, and thanks everybody for attending.